Hey guys, welcome to the Pasic 23 booth. Our booth is 1218. Got a bunch of cymbals out. Just gonna tap on them. Maybe you can hear them, maybe you can't, but we'll just go for it. So this year I brought a lot of different cymbals, a lot of thin cymbals, but I've noticed that the heavier cymbals tend to actually translate better in this kind of space. So those heavier cymbals are usually the ones I don't typically love when they're in my shop, but when they get out into a larger, more open space, they work better, and you can actually start to hear the subtle complexities that get lost when you're just in your drum room, which I think illustrates a good point about cymbal selection and being able to pick cymbals that are maybe a touch heavier than what you think you want, so that you're buying something that actually works in the context that you're in with your band. You want something that can actually translate, cut through the mix. It's fun to have like a floppy, wild, thin cymbal for your drum room because it can sound great, and also it can sound great under mics if you're needing it for the studio. But just knowing, do you need that same cymbal to try and cut through in a rock band? It's not really going to work. So, for instance, this cymbal right here is a half flat 24. It's very thin and wobbly, and it wouldn't translate well outside of like a really quiet setting, like a cafe gig or whatever. So. It's relatively loose, and you can maybe see in the camera that it's flopping a little bit. It's relatively loose, and that sound, it would make for a really killer crash, big crash. But if you're trying to play ride patterns and have those strokes be heard, you might want to choose something a little bit more like one of these. These are both 22s. We got a landmark and a tributary, and they're both over 2,600 grams for a 22. So we're kind of in a medium thin range, and they would translate much better. The wash and the spread isn't gonna overshadow that stick definition and get in the way of the articulation, whereas one of these cymbals is actually gonna work a lot better to be able to play faster patterns and have the articulation that you need at any volume. So you can still play one of these cymbals here quietly. You can get some subtlety out of them, and you just need the control in your technique. But then when you need to dig in, it's a stick articulation that's sitting out on top of the wash. So of the cymbals that I brought, I kind of brought sort of half and half, thin jazz cymbals that work in more controlled environments or studio environments, and then the other half being heavier cymbals that would translate better. So that's one thing I've noticed from being at Pasic so far. I also have noticed that people dig this flat right here. It's got a nice crash and a nice shimmer. It's also really thin, which is kind of the thing about flat rides, is you can get away with a thinner weight because that flat ride is all articulation. And so you can go thinner to a point where it'll crash well, but the articulation still stays even at thin weights, whereas with a cymbal that has a bell, it's going to keep opening up and getting bigger, and the spread is going to get overpowering pretty easily. So one aspect of our Pasic booth for 2023. Let's go check out the others. All right, so for the drum kit, I brought a ribbon mahogany kit, 16 by 11 kick drum, 12 by 8, and 14 by 10. Real small sizes tuned up, because I figure most of the drums in Pasic are tuned very low and thuddy, and something that kind of sings a little bit more is kind of nice. So check this out. I like that bass drum. Little mini stack ring station. Got the Versa stacks. Right now I got two 12s up here, B20 stainless. And these things can be changed, manipulated via either how tight you tension them or how tight you have the wing nuts on the stainless version. So. K-stacks. And I've got these new side sticks we're putting out soon that are made out of both copper and brass. So they have a Gibraltar hoop clamp with them, and you just tighten them down on the hoop, and you can get that Koskara thing. We also make them in wood, so you can get like a more clicky sound, and you can also put them on a snare drum for the side stick thing. So it's a little bit on the stack ring side. I've obviously got a bunch of other sizzler stuff. All right, so we got a special set of hats that I paired together. They weren't originally designed to match, but we have a 15-inch Labyrinth top that's 1050 grams, and a 15-inch Landmark bottom that's 925 grams, so a lighter cymbal on the bottom. These things sound killer, so let's check these out before the guy comes and picks them up. So that's a little rundown of the booth we had for Pasic 2023. It was a real blast to meet all of you guys. Anyone that came up and said hi, thank you for coming and checking out the booth. We had a blast, and we'll definitely be back next year. This was a really fun show, probably one of the most fun shows we've done so far. So if you like this little thrown together video, please hit the like and the subscribe, and hit the bell if you want notifications, and keep an eye out for the next video. I got more Pasic videos coming in the next couple weeks, so keep an eye out for those. I'm Timothy Roberts. Thank you guys so much for watching.